Hello, this is Bridget Rao with Divine Essentials. Alright, this is the Starseed Shaman Podcast, and this is episode 3 of season 2. And we are in the March month, and I was just filling out, because last week was such a busy week, I didn't really get a lot of time to fill in my big book. I went to the family thing this weekend, and I was talking to my cousin Brianna, and she also is a weirdo, apparently, with, like, notebooks. She's like, yeah, yep, totally, because, like, even she's like, I also use my phone to put stuff in, but ever since the time that there was a time that she had just stuff in her phone, and, like, the phone deleted it all. She didn't have any backup or physical copy. It was just gone. So she's like, I will never just have that again. And I know what she means, because, like, I don't trust it. And that's, like, when you think about, like, when people are like, oh, you know, we couldn't have been very technological, like, advanced or whatever, when we think about what we find from the past or things that are around. But I don't know if, like it seems like the further ahead people go, it's like the tinier things become. And I think, like, a phone, you think about it, it's like you probably get rid of it, because they're not that big. I think that it's unlikely that we're going to be, like, finding a whole lot of phone parts in a billion years, when we just, like, found the very, very, very tip of that pyramid. When we found that, and that was, like, just, like, you know, last moments before that thing was gone. So can you imagine, like, they never found it? We would never know that there's all that shit right there. Well, we probably maybe would eventually, or maybe the next generation of sets of people that come on through, you know, depends on which time they come on in for, because these polls, you know, or, like, the times that we have, or it's like, oh, it was an ice age, and then it was a hot time, and then it was a melty melt, and then it was another one, and it's like repeat. So, you know, you might not have access to things. So if you're planning on coming back, you know, try to plan it out accordingly. I've been really called to this place called Dolphin Island in, like, Alabama or something. I don't even know what's wrong with me, but it's weird. It's one of those things that's like, I have no idea why I even know, like, but just it's come up quite a few times, and it keeps coming up, and it keeps coming up, and it keeps coming up, and it's like, all right. So the other night, when I called and talked with Jenny, I don't know, I think some people probably saw us, like, plan that on the live, and I was like, we're gonna end up talking, we talked from, like, 6 p.m. Well, I got home, you know, right around 6 p.m. and then we got on by, like, 7, because there's always issues trying to do anything with me or her, because we're the same. And then we were on the phone till 4 a.m. And I was like, oh, because I had said, like, we're probably going to just end up being on there for, like, really long time, so you let me know what's a good time that you want to get on there. And we didn't get a chance to do the thing, like, the actual hypnosis thing yet, because we were talking, but it was weird. It was really, really weird, because I am a believer. Yeah, you know, like, there is therapy within talking, whether you talk to another human being or you just talk, whether anybody ever hears you say it or not. Maybe sometimes even just listening to it, you know, back can give you perspective. Like think, just let yourself talk, like, as if you were talking to somebody, okay? Just let it come out, whatever wants to come out of you, and then listen to it. Sometimes I listen back to a thing that I have said, because I'm like, should I post that? Because, you know, sometimes you get doubts. It's really hard too. Like, I know a lot of people out there who find their way to me are likely people who've been through what I have been. And I know this for a fact because, like, the other day, a girl, and this is the first time I ever put out an Etsy reading option, like I usually don't use Etsy for that. And I was like, I'm going to post out 5 readings for bookings because I knew I had like the 3 live nights coming up, and I was also posting crystals, and I was doing a lot of things and like, pushing myself a little bit too hard, but whatever. When I got a booking from somebody, they put their little questions in there, and they were like, I'm leaving a 10-year toxic, narcissistic, abusive thing. I only have like a month before I need to move out of here with my dogs. I don't know what I'm going to do for work. It was like, and I was like, it's literally what I did, when I came out of the situation I was in and came out into this world with nothing, with my dogs. And it was like, but I was like, it was really strange the way things occurred, because I know the universe was like, all right, we're going to orchestrate this, because I had been doing the work for a while, and I had been raising the vibrations for a while, and I had been doing the vortex and the Monet keys and the things like the new paradigm. Jenny asked me about the new paradigm the other night, why I don't talk about it more. It's because it's one that I can't share long distance with people. Like, there's a limitation on it, which is one of those things that I'm like, oh my God, because when you go through Reiki 1, 2, and 3, Usui Reiki, unfortunately, over the years, people have kind of like messed with it. These systems that come in through a divine, way, in sacred holy places, through, Buddhists that spent all that time fasting and meditating and receiving like divine symbols and shit. Well, back in the day, he got all that and he gave it to a woman, Mrs. Takata. But they were like trying to like be weirdos, those fucking little weirdo things that people do with like the gatekeeping. I wrote a blog post today. I'm like, I'm not a gatekeeper. My gate's open, but most people don't stick around long enough to hear the vastness of what's in there. Other people hear it and are like, screw that, that's way too much. I get overwhelmed, or they're like, intimidated to do the things that need to be done. And other people are just like, no, too lazy, do it for me, or you know what, I'm gonna mess with you because I don't like the fact that you can do it. It's like, so, it's just how it is out there. But whatever you've got going on around you can be kind of, hit or miss with all of these things that we have in this world. But, she asked me about that, and the reason why he was like, I know, he basically, but he had like, it's ego, okay? And again, no channel on the planet is a pure ego-free thing. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how long you are here. You have an ego. It's built in with your human vessel. It's an animalistic thingy connected to your brainy that's in the back of your body. Like, it's just there, okay? Instinct. It saves you so you do not get murdered. We don't need it to the degree that we used to, because we don't have like a bunch of like wild things like just roaming through our house hunting us. We don't need to be like on high alert out there killing our meals by ourselves. So it doesn't matter though, because that thing up there is still there that makes, like a child freak out about little things that make no sense. There's no rationale. Okay? And it invokes the fight, flight, or freeze people. There's fight, flight, or freeze and fawn. I think. I don't know if freeze and fawn are the same. I don't know. Everybody's got their way of like putting these things out here anyway. And everybody's got their terms and ba. And again, this is something I don't think people realize. Like, it's one of those thoughts that came, or I have often, about like stuff. When I start getting myself all worked up about things being a certain way. And it's very easy for us to do this type of thing in this world because it's conditioned into us, because it's what we were taught, because we mimic those who we saw. That's just what we do. It's what it is. Especially if you have respect for somebody, you thought of them as like a very ba-ba-ba, and they happen to do that thing. That doesn't mean that they're not that, and that they're stupid, or anything's bad or wrong with anybody or anything. It's just what was and what is and what has been. But unfortunately, for so long, it's not been anything that's really actually been serving people to the degree that it could, should, or would. And it's been a detriment at, like, everybody's expense on purpose. So our natural instincts connected to that little brain thingy is just like nature, but it's not. It's like we just need to calm down and let ourselves do these things, and also realize that it doesn't matter what's in the book. It doesn't matter which book. It doesn't matter who wrote it, where they wrote it, or what they have for a piece of paper that says they're somebody special. Okay? Same thing as like being in your little tiny first day of kindergarten, and you got a sticker for standing in line, right, or whatever the hell you did. Oh, did you show up today? Here you go. Thank you for participating. All right, it starts then, and people, oh yeah, I got my sticker. I got to the next grade. I got my report card, and that even right there, that usually, like, that's shaping people for life, because you failed everything, you're so dumb, but no, maybe that's not the case. Maybe they failed everything because you can't teach that person. Maybe they're, beyond the scope of what you can handle, because not everybody's the same. And they try to make people feel like, oh, things like ADHD is like a bad thing. No. You know what it is? It's actually pretty helpful for not being indoctrinated into that fucked up system. And being like, oh, easily sat there for 9 hours, paying attention to that crap show, not questioning anything, not pushing back the envelope. But when you look into stuff with all of it, you realize, like, it's kind of like a superpower, man. Especially, like, the cool parts about it, because it's like, and it's like things that I, like, never speak about or talk about. But when I started realizing what it was, because, like, you don't think about it, you just are who you are. You just assume that this probably is done by other people, and if it's not, whatever, I don't know. I don't pay that much attention to it because it's just my day-to-day, and it, whatever. I don't really think, like, that anybody here should be, I don't think anybody here, or, okay, well, yeah, there's some things that are pretty clear, like, okay, that is not probably a good way to be living if you're wanting to participate in life at a certain degree or in a certain way. We can pretty clearly see when, like, this person's not capable of doing that and other people are. So, like, when you have people with, like, ADHD or, like, the high functioning autism, like, they used to call it Asperger's. Now everything's just, like, getting classified into one window, which is my point, okay? When you do that shit with, like, the whole, like, let's label everything, let's call it this, it used to be this, and now it's that. The fact that it could used to be this, now it's that, tells you right there that nobody is concrete. Nobody is 100. And nobody, like, in those things that they're coming out with at that time, the ADHD or the hyper super focused or just ADD, the ba kind, none of those exist anymore. They got rid of them all. So the fact that they do that, the fact that, like, autism is no longer what it was, it's now this, and it's a ba. It's stupid ways of our human mind trying to give it a definition for every little tiny little thing. We want to do that because we're like control freaks, and we, I think that's also been bred or conditioned or whatever into us. I think that's also part of our, like, higher intelligence or something, though, because it's like we're the only things out here on this planet, like, Googling or ever even close to it. We're the only things out here trying to get clean and out of, like, off of and into somewhere else from the actual earth, which tells me, like, I don't think That's like our natural habitat out there. Not for most of us, like maybe, and I'm not saying like we don't have like nature wherever we're from, but I just feel like there's different environments that some of us are supposed to be in, and I'm pretty sure mine involves a lot of water, and I'm pretty sure mine involves warmer weather, 100%. I don't even care. People are like, come, and they're like, yeah, reptilian, whatever, dude. Yeah, I'm reptilian, good. You know what that means? I'm safe when they take out everybody. Because I'm one of them. And I've just been here trying to fucking help you guys. Because I'm stupid. I don't know. What? I got my wires crossed and I'm here to help. Even the thing is, like, even if I am reptilian, the reason why it bothers me when people come and say it to me is because I know they're saying it in a way to be a douche. They're not saying it to be nice. They're not saying it to be, like, whatever. Like, it's not one of those things I know where it's coming from. Because when I found out about all this stuff way back when I was first waking up, I was like, oh, and I used to, be very drawn to Orion as a kid. I would look at that because I knew what it was. I could I could center myself and position myself and find out what's what based off of like looking for his belt. And then it was like, okay, scan over here, scan over there. I don't even know really why I even know who the hell that was and why, like, I knew that was Orion's belt, but I just did. It's one of those things. Perhaps it was taught to me, but I don't recall it, like, there's not a conscious memory of it. But when I found out about the Pleiadian thing, which was very, 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 very much every day, all day, long time. No, like, they were like very, very adamant that I was going to have to take it. Like, to the point where it was, like, insanity. I can't even, like, put into words. I don't know if anybody else has ever done this. If you are a neurodivergent person or you identify with things like the ADHD stuff, of being able to super hyper-focus on some certain things for a while when it causes you to be, interested in it all of a sudden, and then about that thing randomly for no freaking reason. It's probably not helpful, but it's there within your brain, and it's up there. But it usually comes out of, like, it's like almost like a hole you go into of like, okay, let's stop for this. Boop, boop. Oh, look at where this led me. Oh, look at that's how it goes. But synchronicity is like, it's like the magic thing. It's like the magic addition to your like squirrel, Oh, squirrel, and there's another squirrel, and there's another one. And there's patterns within everything. And I think ADHD or highly functioning autism or whatever they want to call it is basically attention dialed up a little bit, or like capable of multi-dimensional focusing or concepts coming in. Because, like, I know there's a couple of versions of me, and there's a couple of timelines that are, like, right around here, and it's, like, and they're, like, some are, like, vastly different almost, because I can channel something, fully understand it while it's coming through the mouth, like it's like, wow, it's such a huge concept, oh my fucking God, it, like, blows my mind, and it's, like, it's not happened every, like, there's only a few times that I can even, like, think back on. Like, there's a couple of times I did, like, a reading, and I'd have, like, a certain deck out, and it would just, like, get into some weird flow, and the shit that was, I'm like, what is that? Wow, that what? Like, I don't even, like, I can understand it while I'm saying it, because while I'm saying it's not me saying it, it's like they know fully well what they're through me, but it makes sense. But if you were like, hey, Bridget, repeat that, my Bridget Rain would be like, ba-boo. The reason that I'm sure of that now is earlier today I have, like, an app thing that's for shifting your mind, or, like, just seeing where you sit, where do you dwell within your mind, and it's supposed to help you, like, figure out what the things are that you are, what patterns or what things you're constantly going back to within your mind, or what could be a problem for you, or where should we help you to improve. So I just wanted to see what it was like, and I was like, boop, and it's like, you read what's on the screen, and it records you. And then you can play it back at the end. And I did it. And it was funny listening to me, because I'm like the first thing was like, ba, ba, ba. Like, you pick out the face that you feel like represents you best. And I looked, and there was like one with like a ziggly, quick, like, you know, crazy zany, like spinny eye, you know, and like one eye open and wide, and one eye like, and like all like, and all, oh no, I'm freaking the fuck out, it's crazy. I'm like, oh, that one looks like me. And they were like, why do you think you feel this way? I'm like, probably because, like, you know, every time I attempt to, you know, connect out there, go out there, it's like people are blocking me, or they don't like to, like, you know, be like, you know, associated to me. I got the one that, like, didn't want to kill me, you know, that it still hurt at first, because when you share something with somebody, right, you have commonality between you and another person. It's like, that's how I find my people. Like Jenny and I spoke the other night that long. Now I am aware of things that I didn't realize that are like really, 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 really weird, to the degree that it's like the same exact bad trauma things, like to the same exact like person that it would have been connected to. Like if it was like, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, it was this person from this that did, like, not even exactly like that, but it was like every person that one of us has had in our life, that they had that as well in their own life. Sometimes those people did the same things, and sometimes they didn't, but we both had it. Like, it's weird, hard to explain without maybe being present for that conversation, but it was really getting to the point, like, even the little things, like, you know, my little tiny, you know, 7th grade planner for school, and writing in it every day, which I'm writing in mine right now. Okay, I still do it. She does too. She did it then as well. And I was like, well, because she also had some unhealthy people that were present, that causes that ADHD mind in the oldest daughter. But when you live with like a narcissist, or people who do the things that they do, where it's like you become like, and that's a big problem for me still to this day. So if you see me like feel bad, and it's like, no, why do you feel bad? What's the matter with you? Like, there's nothing you should feel bad about. Or you see me over-explain, or you see me like go over and above trying to make sure that somebody doesn't get their feelings hurt, or you see me waste a lot more extra time spent or care given, memory of, you know, like just things that like maybe other people, like you went and got a reading from somebody, and you went back like a week later, they probably, you know, you may not expect all readers out there to remember some weird things, you know, but it's like, I'm not going to say I do it with every single person. I definitely don't. I do know that like there's definitely 100% sometimes people that I just recognize by their name, or their like whatever their profile picture is. Some people, they may not, like I may not catch them as quickly as another, like when they show up, you know, but there is like some, like I'll see them and I just know. And like some people I don't need to communicate with like verbally, but I am still very much connected to them. Like there's a girl who has been living like a mirror situation to my life right now that I already went through, and she was, you know, aware of, watched on Facebook, and I've seen her go through it herself this year, in the last years. Only her dad passed away, and then she went to move into her mom's, and now her mom has passed away. But it was like, you know, she was caregiving. I only took care of my mom, but my mom was sick for an extended amount of time, so it was like her two people summed up into like the time, you know, it was around the same thing. But there's just a lot more similarities within us anyways beyond that. We're both Starseeds. I met her in the Starseed group. There's a majority of people from back then that's like, that's the same thing. There's Raquel, there's that girl, there's like Larry Locken, Sif, there's there were like just a few people that like I can like see them in my mind. Even there's one girl that she can't think of her name for some reason right now, but it's weird. It's like I just know, and they knew, and we all know because we're still connected. Stephanie is the other one. Some people, like, kind of, like, disappeared off. Oh, and then I just remembered the other one. There's another girl. Oh, my God. I'm really, 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 really bad with names. And dates, and times, and numbers. I just don't remember that stuff. That's why I write it all down, okay? My point of all this is, like, when you have that stuff go on, trauma, it does mess with your brain. It makes you beep, 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 right? But it's great for, like, multitasking, circling around, coming back. And it can be, like, difficult for you to trust yourself. It can be difficult for you to even remember shit, because that's literally, it causes you to have ADHD. It's traumatic experience. You're on high, like, because of it. And if people lie to you and breadcrumb and then, like, you know, try to pretend and you know, do shit to you that's, like, really weird and say stuff, but then be like, no, I didn't say that, I didn't do that. They gaslight you so bad that you believe it, but you don't believe it, but you do believe it, but you don't believe it. And it's really hard to explain that unless you've fucking been in it. And I see people go through it, and I see people get sucked back into it, and it's hard. And sometimes we don't even realize, because there's different versions of it. And it's like you go through fucking graduation time to the next one, to the next one. I believe my mother had the one that was not like an intentional evil person one. It's like it comes out of a space of just not knowing any better, or being kind of like childlike. It was like she never grew up, because she was like born sick, and then she was like sick again at 7, went through her whole nervous system, and she had like rheumatic fever, she had all these different things. Where she grew up, her whole life, they you know, they were on their little farm there, but they were right next to the power lines where they would spray the things. So the cow that gave them their milk, the chickens that gave them their eggs, the garden that gave them their stuff, anything that they ate or drank was contaminated with PCBs and the crap that was coming out of the like the mosquito sprays. Like they used to be like a truck that would go down their street and just spray fucking all over the place. And I guess it was full of poison. And then the power lines themselves release things that cause people to get sick. All the people in the area where my mother lived. And it was weird, because my mother had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2000 in her kidneys. And they told us that there was a 99% chance that she was going to die. Pretty big chance there, you know? So I was pretty fucked up. And I was pretty young. And my dad had, you know, I think he was either in jail or going in or something. He had been in and out more than one time because of, you know, drinking and driving and just doing silly, stupid things. And so when I was that kid, I would, you know, kind of bounce back and forth between houses. I never felt like I belonged in any of those houses. My mom and my stepdad were like a family with their 2 children, and my dad and his wife, my stepmom, were like a family with their 2 kids. So, you know, it was awkward. But growing up in those circumstances, and you look back, you can see what was going on and how it played out, and even still today, you know, especially when you look into it, because there's covert, you know, narcissist, there's overt narcissist, there's the like dippy one. It's like, I'm just a silly weirdo that never grew up, you know. But usually toxic attracts toxic, and it also breeds toxic. So a lot of times the childs who live in this end up dealing with it, seeing it, we mimic it, or are it, or do it, okay? But that's the thing. A lot of times we know it's not the right way to be, or we finally figure it out sometime along the way. It's like, oh man, what the hell? Oh, what the hell is this information? Because you've heard the name before, but you don't really maybe know until you know. And it was part of my spiritual awakening. It was actually part of my spiritual awakening and my own, like, trying to find out what is wrong with my brain, you know, like when I was like thinking I'm a starseed based off of the synchronicities and the weird fucking crazy shit that was happening to me that's still currently happening to me. And I remember, because like the thing that, like, back then, whatever I had typed, it was basically like to figure out if I was a narcissist, because I looked into schizophrenia and bipolar and like hallucinating or being like weird, you know, because I wasn't like, whatever happened, something went through my head, it was a buzz, that was it, just like freaked me out, whoa, like it's not like any, just like a little ringing in the air, okay, this was big, I don't know what it was, it's the only thing I can, you know, think about being the reason for why very short time after I was being like downloaded with information and speaking it out, and the time that was like about the meteors and the stars and blah blah. Mom put the Discovery Channel on for it to be there, and it was like, holy crap, why? That's weird shit. It's like, oh my god, what is wrong with me? You know? And back then it wasn't common for people to be awakening or spiritual stuff. I've never been to church. I was never baptized or Christian. My mother doesn't know anything about, you know, like she was the last child of 8 kids, so they were like, yeah, whatever, poof, get her, bye. Like, she go live with your sisters, because your sisters are like old enough to take care of you as a child. So, you know, my mom was the baby. She was my baby. And my dad, mom, has made him, he's the oldest, but his mom was 15, she had him, and they moved out of like Beaufort, New South Carolina, came up here, and she married, and you know, that guy ended up dying. Then she married his brother, and he ended up dying. My dad's dad, it was like a dick. He never saw him. It was messed up. Like, that's why my dad was kind of messed up and drinking and just like miserable, and I was sad because of how his dad was. And he was like, you know, it was a weird circumstance because his mother was very, very young. He didn't know his dad, and he's a fucking emotional man. He's Pisces, first of all. He's a manifesting generator, second of all. And he's an emotionally one, okay? Because they ask, like, when you do, like, the thing for that stuff, like, are you a manifesting generator, or projector, or ba-ba-ba-ba? I'm a manifesting generator, but I'm the non-emotional one. And I'm like, really? Wow, that must suck for the emotional ones, because I know my dad is, like, very sensitive. I know I can be sensitive, or I can feel like, oh, like, when it maybe isn't always necessary to do that way, or be almost overly sensitive, but I think that is just because of circumstances of life, you know, over a while of time of having a lot of bad happen to you, or people being shitty, kind of just like, oh, is that happening again right now? You mad at me? You hate me? Why? I'm sorry. And it's like, it's so sad, because it's like, you really, like, don't want to not be liked. Like, everybody wants to be, and it's not in a way of like, oh, like me, because so I can have, like, my ego stroked. It's like, people just want friends and, like, community and connection. That's usually what people want. But when you regularly run into people not giving that, in a way that's like the way that you do, or they do, and then they take it away. It's like, and it's usually based off of like really weird shit that's like, why? Obviously I've signed up for a reason, and I am aware that, like, I'm not perfect, you know, like, I know, like, I can have problems, and I probably have played my part and said things or done things that I shouldn't have done for, you know, the best outcomes in this world. But I really do not try to harm, and I really do try to help, and I really have attempted a lot of times with a lot of people, to remedy or fix or be mature adults about things. But a lot of times that doesn't work if that person is just triggered at your existence, or they're just like, mad about circumstances. There was a time, and it's like, it was weird because it's weird stuff. It's just weird, but it's happened my whole fucking life. And I don't understand it. I don't like it. I would like it to stop because it sucks. Because it's like, no, don't just leave me alone. I don't want anybody to be near me because you get weird. Too much time and you're gonna suck and I don't want to deal with it. But, it's like, it's weird. And I really do believe the thing that I saw not too long ago could explain some of it. Because, like, you see it happen with, like, people who are famous, right? To a really big degree. They get, like, people who, like, really, really like them. And they want to, like, swarm them, right? Like, that's not happening to me, okay? Thank fucking God. Because I don't think I have, like, 10 of those markings on me. But I do believe that there's, like, 1 or 2 of them. Because, and especially for girls, for some reason, okay? I don't know if it's because of the Venus energy or that's, like, my predominant planet, okay? Taurus, Venus. And I have a lot of it, okay? And then the Scorpio for Aries, which is like everybody, oh, that's a freak in the sheet, ha. So, like, that's me. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because, like, I am a woman and I am, like, an attractive, pretty woman, but I'm also kind of, like, strongly in a masculine vibration sometimes, out of a necessity or need to do so that I can fucking survive, especially coming out of a 10-year thing with a fucking pussy-ass idiot moron who couldn't do shit except for make life worse. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking have to step up here and try my best. But even before that, even when I was, like, in school and stuff, as a kid, when I was in, like, elementary, little girl, there was a lesbian lady that I was friends with that I didn't know that back then. It was just my friend that I thought was just my friend, like a normal whatever. She was an adult, but she was nice. She'd take me to the store, get a candy bar. I'm like, oh God, what happened? Oh no. Like that hypnosis stuff, we were talking about what might come up, like, or things that could possibly come up, or things that have come up for other people through the result of, going under the hypnosis. And I already know, because I have knowing, and there's things in my brain that I shared with her, because it's always been there. It's always there. And the weirdest thing about it was that morning, driving to my dad's birthday party, I told my dad, this is the first time I've ever told anybody about it, like I did, like, I think I've told my sister, but I've never told anybody what I told Jenny. I never told my dad or my mom anything about it at all. And I think when I told my sister, I don't think I elaborated enough for it to be, like, even a register as a ding-ding. But I think my dad got it. I didn't give him a whole lot. I didn't give, like, you don't know what Jenny knows. But he got the ding-ding. Because I have it. But unfortunately, children are not always, like, remembering a lot of stuff. And I know, like, my mom, when I was very, very little, and they had me in the first house, they had one of those, like, boogie sucker machine thingy. It's not even a machine. It's just like it was like a squishy, like, thingy. It's just, like, fits in your hand, boop, boop. And it's like a plunger for your nose, like the baby nose. But they're little, and for whatever reason, I remember having that. I was freaking the fuck out. I don't know if they shoved it up there too much, or what the fuck was going on, but I remember being there For sure. I know. I was in that house. I've never seen that house, never been in that house. I have no idea what that house looked like on the inside, whatever. But I know I was in that house. I'm like, I know I was. And I kind of have a pretty good idea of where that would, like, what it would look like in that surrounding of that house. We were like in like a hall area. It was weird. Anyways, and then there's like times that I had at another place after that was like it used to be across the street from the Dairy Queen, where we were like I grew up like Abington, Whitman, areas over there, Rockland. So there's a Honeydew Donuts there now, but it used to be my apartment. And when I was there there's one time I remember I puked down the hallway, the entire hallway to the bathroom. For whatever, I don't know, they gave me a lot of something, and it was like, all the way to the bathroom. And then it was like, I'm done. And I remember the cat I don't really even remember the cat there, but I do recall that I got cat scratch fever there because I would lock myself in a room or the closet or wherever with a cat that did not really probably want to be in there with me, but that was okay. I was like, it's okay. I love you, kitty. Apparently, parents didn't care because I got cat scratch fucking fever. And we called it Michelob because he was in the Michelob Ultralight box. But his mom died on the first day that he was born, so we feed him with an eyedropper, which is similar to one of those boogie suckers, but it's even smaller. Yeah, there's been a lot of like weird little things like that, but your memories, they can go away. And that brings me again to that thing, like I would write things down. And I think it's because it's a natural instinct when you have people or circumstances or weird experiences where people lie to you or like go back on their word or, oh, that wasn't what I said, or that, not that day, or possibly, maybe. As a kid, you finally figure out, like, okay, when she says maybe, that means no. Or, the codes after a while, but you don't know in the beginning. But it's also, like, I think just a thing that starts to happen, because I can remember being, like, it's so toxically, like, screwed up. Like, I would, like, write Jamie a fucking letter every night of my life because of, like, how manipulated I was. I'm like, I'm sorry, that you're a piece of fucking shit who lies and cheats. And, I didn't say any of that, but that's really what it was all, like, he was doing and, like, accusing me of, even though I was home all the time with no car, no vehicle, no way to leave. I was, like, locked in there, being accused of, doing all the shit that he was doing. But for example, things that I would see, with my own two eyes. There was a girl that worked for me because I was head of the restaurant, running this place, Percy's Place. I was paid salary, and I was the head waitress. I made, like, most money that I think I've ever really made from a job, like anything like that, because I would run the whole place by myself, except on the weekends. I'd have, like, a crew of 7, but I would be there morning, like, from the beginning to the end, and I would run the whole fucking place. Like, I would get paid a salary payment, but I would also make the tips from working, and I would have, like, the sections that were very busy, and it was crazy. It was like, whoa, like, nonstop. But at that time, he decided that one of the girls that was a person that worked there, she needed a car. Got it, he works with car shit, but got her a car, and then, like, moved her into an apartment that his parents had with her friends, and, like, furnished it with IKEA stuff. I found the IKEA card in our Jeep, and I know her fucking writing clear as day, because I worked with her every day. I read her writing every day. I knew what her writing looked like. I knew immediately it was her writing. And then there was more ways to prove that was happening. When, like, there was a post on Facebook, he got her a puppy, She was in my bed with the puppy. His arm was in the picture with his tattoo of his kid's name. My pillow that was in the pillowcase on the bed with a different pillowcase from the comforter it was on. But guess what? I owned all those things, like that was my stuff. That was his arm. That was her dog. It was posted on her Facebook. But somehow that guy talked me into, nope, that wasn't him. That wasn't that. There's other people with that mattress or that thing or that whatever. Okay. And they just happen to know her too, huh? And then the fucking thing under the like crawl space, because I would go down to do laundry, and like there was a little crawl space beside the laundry area under the house. Right there was like a little suitcase. And on the suitcase is a tag to Florida. And I already knew he had gone there, done stuff, whatever. And it was like I had just moved back into this fucking house, hellhole, shit show. Should have stayed gone. And this is the reason why I quit, is because he cheated on me with her. But his name's on the tag to Florida for the dates and stuff. I'm like, bah, 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 bah. Oh, my brother used that to go under your name? Yeah. Why? Like, that makes no fucking sense. And no, it was after 9/11, dude. Nobody does that. Nobody's going through. It's stupid. There's no reason for him to go to Florida as you. Like, no. But yeah, guess what? You don't want to believe it. You really don't believe it. But because they're not ever going to fucking admit that they're lying, even though you know they are, you're so fucking emotionally damaged at this point because of all the damage that they've done to you, all the things that they've said and done and blah, 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 the fucking emotional roller coaster of what the fuck. There was a night that, like, the night that I left and moved out was because I knew what he was going to do. I'm like, I know what you're doing. He was like, just wait here. Any other fucking time that motherfucker wanted to go any fucking where that wasn't like, it was like, it didn't matter where it was. Well, you never go with me. Like, if I wasn't gonna go. So the fact that he would not fucking let me go, I already knew. And then he started his shit. Oh, you just want to go because it's so-and-so. Because he was trying to say it was his friend, a guy, that he was going to get his truck or something that broke down. And I knew it was a bunch of shit. I just knew. I fucking knew. I had the knowing then. I didn't even know what I was doing, but I knew. And he was not. And even after and we fought and fought and fought, he goes in the driveway. And so there was a guy that lived there too at that time that was like his ex's family that had also been like there at points. It was just fucking crazy. And I had him call the guy that he was like, oh, he's out in the woods going to get him from. And that guy answered the phone and he was like, no. Like, we knew he was lying. And then, like, from the minute he left the driveway, his phone was never on. Like, he can't. Now all of a sudden he's just unreachable immediately. And then when he came home, he was like, I know what he did. And then I went out to the truck after he fell asleep and I found like a girl's sweatshirt or whatever. And then, like, male fucking pills because he's an old fucking stupid man that couldn't do anything anyways. And I flipped the fuck out. Oh, those aren't mine. Those are so-and-so's, the idiot that was in the house with me when he left. I'm like, okay. But that's the thing. There was always an answer. It didn't matter. Like, I could have walked in and seen him on top of the bitch. And he would have been like, no, I wasn't. You're an idiot. You're just fucking, like, hallucinating. That's not what you saw. But because of the way that they do it, because it's like, it's a battle you're not gonna win. And for a while, like, there was other things that happened. He did things with my sister, both of my sisters. He did things that, like, my mother knew about. And, like, it really fucked a lot of stuff up. Because I'm like, wait a minute, why? Like, what? Because there was, like, levels and layers to things. Because he was a piece of crap. And he would, like, reach out to talk to anybody. Just to, like, see. He did it to a girl I knew. And I fucking knew he was doing it. Because I knew he was doing it. I just knew it. He was sending her messages, and she was like, oh my God, ba. She didn't know it was him, but I did. She was my friend. She came to do, like, one thing there, like, one time for 5 fucking seconds, and I don't even, well, he probably got her number out of my phone or something, but she was like, oh yeah, I've been talking to this, like, dude, who, like, randomly started texting me, and I, like, instantly knew. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, what happened? He sent me a picture of his dick. I'm like, yep, let me see it. And then I was like, what's the number? So I pull out the laptop, type that number in there, and where does it lead me? Right into his fucking sent emails from his email account. Oh, that's my cousin using that for the junkyard. Why is he texting dick pics to my best friend? That's really a small world, man. Really, really tiny world. What are you talking the fuck about? No, it's not. Your fucking cousin. But it was neither here nor there. It did not fucking matter. He would never admit to anything. But because it was like, it didn't even matter by that point. When we lived in the basement, it was like we just lived in the basement. I'm not touching you. We're not seeing each other. It was just codependency at that point. Like, whatever. Here I am. Like, basically, but no, like a forced one. It's not like I really wanted to be there or I was afraid to not be there. It was like, you fucking sucked my life away from me. You tricked me. You lied to me. You fucking did things that were like weird and like, oh, hey, that car that I've been telling you has been getting fixed for fucking so long that I knew wasn't, but I didn't really believe or think that he would do it. He sold it to a state cop friend. So when you're like, what the fuck? I'm gonna bet, because I still have the title. He's like, who do you think they're gonna believe? You or the state cop? I'm like, oh my God. It's not even worth it. But like, yeah, when I showed, yeah, he upgraded the car from what I had to that, but I came in with a car. Like, I came in with a job. I came in with a bank and credit and whatever. I may not have been awesomely, like, put together emotionally. I was, like, stupid, doing drugs, and he was the reason why I stopped doing drugs. Because, like, even though he's a piece of shit, toxic weirdo, like, cheats and lies and steals money and, whatever, he's really fucked up with that stuff, but he doesn't do drugs. But what he will do is get drugs and put them in front of you and be like, don't do these drugs. Like, or get them and give them to you in like a weird, controlling way that it's like, I don't even want them, dude. But it was like always testing you. But when he met me, he would like prey. That's what he does. He preys on people that were easy targets, had no self-confidence, no like, they were already going through that type of abuse at home. They didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know anything about it till my spiritual awakening. I found out what that was, what he was, and then I was like I think I knew about my mom, but I just wasn't like really ready to admit it, because you don't want to admit that you've been being abused. And when you say abuse, I know people who've been abused and through the trauma and the bullshit, oftentimes they're like, oh, I wasn't really abused. Yeah, you were. You may not have been physically beat down every day. Maybe you had food. Maybe you had warmth. Maybe you had what you needed to survive. But if there was an emotional, like, dysregulated adult in your presence consistently, or somebody that was, like, all fucked up consistently, or somebody that lied and did things that were, like, causing you to, like, keep tally of what happened every day of the week, because it's the only way you could, like, check on things or make sure that you're not crazy. Like, that's, like, what things happen. Like, they say, like, you may be in a connection with a narcissist if you find yourself, like, recording calls, or, like, like wanting to hear things back, or, like, trying to keep a copy, or, like word for word of what was there, writing it down, journaling about it, because they will make you feel absolutely insanity about, like, things that are happening. It's like, what is going on? Or they will treat you really, like, totally two different ways. Like, really? Like, why? Don't treat me like, why? Because, like, they don't even really want you. They discard you, right? They're like, go away, bye, I'm done with you. Or, like, for now. But then when you try to leave, it's like, oh, I love you so much, we don't leave. One day, he drove me off the road because I was, like, trying to go home. He's crazy. But it was like, that's what happens. If you come from a highly toxic home, it just becomes normal. I watched a little guy, like, the other day who was like, hey, you know what's fucked up? It's like, we just do it, what we do because of what we've been through. Like, doesn't matter. Most people who have, like, normal, healthy stuff, when they look over at chaos, they keep going the other direction. They don't go towards the chaos. People who grew up with the chaos, they look at it, they like, oh, that's familiar. And they head right on into more. And that's what happens. But anyways, if you've been through that chaos or you've been through that stuff, it can be very difficult. It can be very detrimental to your mind, to your beliefs, to your body, to your emotions, to your soul, and to everything that you want and do and create. And it can keep creating more and more and more. And like I said, there's many levels and layers to it. There's ones that are covert. There's ones that are, like, grandiose. There's ones that don't even know any better. There's ones that, there's, like, the empath kind, where they say it's like they always have to be, like, the victim, or they create things to do. I don't even know exactly what the one is, but I know there's 5 or 6 of them based off. But again, my main point here, it doesn't matter what's in the book. It doesn't matter what the label is. It doesn't matter what you could possibly have all the characteristics of, and blah, 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 blah. I think it is good for us to be able to identify those things about ourselves, because it's like, oh, now I have an awareness of a name for that, and a reason for that, and I can remedy that. But also, it can give us a way of connecting to another human on the planet as like a me too, and that's a nice thing. But don't label yourself or try to, like, go follow somebody else's thing that they put in the book, because they wrote that book. But they're just like you. Anybody can write that book. Anybody can label a thing. Anybody can put it however they want to put it, make up. Somebody made up the DSM. Somebody made up the whole fucking thing of being a psychologist. Somebody made up everything at one point. So make up what it is that you want and want to live by, and realize that we all have a little fucked upness, some more than others. And if you're not wicked, wicked, wicked bad off, and you can be able to do things and do whatever, don't look at it as, oh, this is a bad thing, or let people make you think ADHD is a negative, or a high function and autism is just whatever, any different than the low or the whatever. Don't let it get into you or become you, because it's not you. You dictate what's going to be, who you are, and what you do. Look at people doing what you want to do, and instead of being all, oh, I can't do that, I wish I could, they do it so much better than me, instead, flip it to, if they can do it, so can I. What the fuck's the difference? There's nothing that you cannot do that has already been done. And there's other things that people have done consistently and will continue to do that nobody else ever did before them, and they just broke the mold. And it's the weirdos like me that believe that they can, that do. So believe that you can and you will, and get the fuck away from the people that do the shit that make you, like, doubt and stay in those weird places of, oh, but I guess, yeah, they're probably right, that I'm just dumb. And if you're in those circumstances, write down every day and make a plan to get away. Imune, namaste.